Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. You know my catchphrase for the beginning of all these AMAs. I just want to make sure I'm welcoming everyone from all sides of the globe because Gajira is one of those communities where people literally come from all walks of life, from literally everywhere, South America to Asia to North America to Africa to every freaking where. It's pretty amazing. It's a beautiful thing. It's an amazing thing. If you're here live, I welcome you and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. If you're listening on YouTube, I appreciate that as well. I love anytime you guys are educating yourself about all this good stuff that's going on here. Token has been a new platform that's coming out here. They've actually been generous enough to come and take time out of their busy schedule. Swifty is the guy that we're going to be talking to today and we'll be asking some questions. How you doing, Swifty? Doing all right?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Yeah, man. I mean, it has its ups and downs, life, the ebb and flow, all that good stuff. Rains
Mhm.
one day, it's sunny the next day, and I don't even mean the weather, you know what I mean?
Understandable. It's understandable.
But yeah, so normally, like whenever I do these AMAs, I don't know if it's like, different from other people, but I like to kind of give you a little bit of a chance to, do a little elevator pitch, as I call it, to really show us what's going on. I know that your guys are coming out with, something that is able to discover, track, automate, and aggregate NFTs. It sounds like a really cool platform. I do know that there's a lot of platforms out there like that, and I would love to hear about how yours is different and just basically give us a whole rundown of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate, first of all, Gojira giving us this platform. I know for a fact that, I was talking to our team, and currently they're handling something on the other product we have. Um, and, I think there's a current drop that they're taking care of, so they're not able to be here. But I can explain more later on what they're doing. So, first of all, I appreciate Gojira giving us this platform. I definitely do believe that, like what you just mentioned earlier, there's so many products out there that are already, calling themselves and providing all of this information, especially the data that you see on these analytic dashboards. That is something that, is very prominent in the space. And to be very frank, I do believe it's very, very useful to many people in this space as well. So, I think it's a great question that you asked. What is token and what makes it different? Um, so, like you said, there's so many products out there that help you analyze. They give you information such as floor price and give you all of those data sets that basically allow you to review the information and take the action for your own needs. Token, on the other hand, is a product that actually helps you automate the analyzed data. So instead of just seeing the data, to us and especially to myself, I do believe that data can be important, but it's useless without action. And so, to me, what we've done for the past 3 to 4 months is, we basically established Token as a toolbox that not only allows you to portfolio and manage your wallet in a single place, something like App Radar, which I believe many of you guys have used before. It's Token not only allows you to use one single wallet, you could use as many wallets as you wish to, portfolio them, view them, the statistics within all of the wallets, whether or not you spent a lot this past week, or if you're in the positives, you could do that with Token. You could also do like what these analytic dashboards do, which is monitor your favorite collections. But we added a, a next layer of what you can possibly do with NFT collections and monitoring them by allowing you to set the notification or whether it's alerts to wherever, whenever, channel that you wish to see it as. So you could set something like, let's say Gojira that goes up, let's say 50% within even the next 10 minutes or 30 minutes, even up to 24 hours, whichever time frame you set. If that parameter hits, you get that type of information. I'm going to definitely provide a quick graphic that kind of explains how you can set that up, of course. Um, but while I'm talking, this is just something that everyone can do. You could set it up unlimitedly, so any alpha groups, any sort of groups, can basically send this information to any of their channels. So not only that, besides monitoring and analyzing your wallets, you could also do sniping. I know for a fact that many of you guys have been um, aware of all of these dashboards that are starting to provide certain features such as bidding and sniping and so on and so forth. And likewise for products like the upcoming Flipper tool, which is attempting to offer auto minting and auto bidding. Um, for Token, well, not only do we offer sniping without you ever having to approve your transaction, because in the case of a snipe, let's say an NFT is below 30% or 40%, whichever parameter you set below the floor of that collection, um, you won't be in front of your computer 24/7, waiting to approve a transaction that potentially helps you snipe. But Token, on the other hand, helps you snipe that up without you ever having to be on your desk. It's basically like a setup and go and do your things for the rest of your day. And so, I hope I'm able to cover the majority of the things, but, basically Token helps you aggregate everything that you've, are accustomed to within the space, not only for monitoring collections, analyzing your wallets, to also all of your favorite ranking pages, Rarity Sniper, or Trait Sniper, Meta Rarity tools. All of these data is accessible directly within Token. So you would never have to go to those platforms again. You could just use Token. You could turn them on or off, utilize them to your um, best ability, because, why would I have to open a few Chrome tabs when I can just have one place that provides me all of those information in a very easy manner. So I hope I'm able to kind of encompass exactly what Token offers. And that is the key reasons why Token is very different from these dashboards that are very prominent in this space at the moment. But yeah, I appreciate you giving me the time to be able to share with everybody in Gojira.
So yeah, no, I appreciate it for sure. And if you were to like, kind of figure out what exactly, the combination of different tools that we can already relate to, what would you say a token is kind of like a combination of? Or do you
That's
guys
a great
provide, or
question.
do you really provide like something that's like, what no one else does? Because I'd love to hear that. Because I mean, I see all this really good stuff, and I'm like listening to it, all the really good stuff, and I'm one of the things that I do here is kind of to teach people how to use analytical tools, and I'm always looking forward to seeing new tools, but I'm also at the same time being like, oh my goodness, another tool. Okay, cool. Like when is this one gonna be? Like bigger and better than NFT nerds and the ones that have been out for a long time, because the unfortunate thing is they have the advantage of time on their side because, they've been building their platform for several months, and then, you're
Mm.
kind of brand new. So like I definitely want to hear about it. I'm not like doubting anything to do with it at all. I'm more just trying to like figure out like how you guys are trying to innovate and make things different.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I definitely would have to say first off, NFT nerds to me, not and websites like Gem and Genie, to me, they're all inspirations to us. They've built a platform that allows people to use them, and it's very easy to access them. Obviously, I'm looking at the voice chat, and someone already is asking about the speed, and I will definitely get to it. But the one thing that I'll definitely give you for starters is you can kind of see Token as a combination of icy tools, a combination of Gem or Genie, as well as adding on maybe sniping, minting, so mass minting, by the way, and also all of the other bulk actions that aren't provided on Gem or Genie. So all of these things are basically encompassed into a single product that we're basically heavily focused on. And I 100% agree with you. It's like, what makes us stand out when there's already all of these prominent tools on the market. And the two things that I can definitely bring up right now is, we definitely have seen and have put ourselves in a situation in this community where there's a lot of tools that are currently coming out. Let's say for Flipper, for example, Flipper is providing auto minting and bidding as a separate desktop app, which in our case, in our expertise with our team, which consists of 6 developers, we also have 3, very brilliant community managers and collab managers. This entire team, we constantly make sure that we are improving the space and figuring out ways to solve problems, even if it's very difficult, so that you guys don't have to. So certain things that we're tackling, which is ways to even enhance the performance of your overall speed of a transaction, to save you certain ways, to save you gas in any way possible. Let's say even during a mint, we make sure that we do that for you. And a lot of projects, a lot of these quote unquote auto minting or auto bidding applications, first of all, they're not able to adequately, they're not as versatile as Token is. Token has not only taken the several steps forward to build, an industry leading, UI that anyone can kind of access. And at the same time, we also, have solved certain problems that a lot of projects have questioned a lot. So a big thing that we can definitely discuss is, let's say for minting, um, there are certain ways that people feel that there's no ways for bots to solve captchas. And I know for a fact that perhaps someone in the voice chat, I think 2266, might have known us from another community. That we are, we know how to solve captchas. We know how to basically help you get through, certain things. We know what the bypasses, the loopholes, the ways to improve and optimize your experience as an NFT trader. So speed to us is absolutely crucial. And a lot of the products in the space, let's say for certain extensions that many people download, that advertise themselves as being blazing fast, but at the end of the day, they're I'm not going to go into detail on how they function, but they're waiting for OpenSea site to load, and sometimes OpenSea site can be completely down. It's just not loading, and they're waiting for that purchase button while Token is already on the back end finding ways to get through and get past it, and already purchase that NFT. Let's say if you're setting up a sniping task or something. Some things like that is what we try to make sure of, and also what we try to optimize. So in terms of speed, in terms of comparison, we are very very confident in what we do, and the biggest reason behind that is because I a little background about our team is that myself and the 6 other developers on our team, we've been in a botting or automation space for a very long time, almost I would say 3 years already. We know exactly how to make people, give people an edge wherever possible. We know how to optimize people's experience, like I mentioned a lot in this conversation. And we also want to make sure, because of me being on board, I care a lot about the user experience, like how you use the tool, how useful this tool is to everybody in this space, and what type of feedback can encourage us to improve this tool as well. So the whole point, and also to answer your question is, I can give you a concrete answer, or I mean, sorry, I can't give you a concrete answer on exactly what a combination of all of these tools, because I definitely do feel like Token is attempting to pioneer in some ways, and attempting to put this toolbox and set a standard in the community to allow people to see and even improve further from that. Because I can definitely tell you, when I was mentioning about certain things like captchas, like when sites are telling you that they're preventing ways for bots to get through, or tools to get through, we know ways to tackle it. We know ways to give our customers, give our holders an edge. This is basically what we do, and we're confident in what we do. But of course, I would love to kind of know from you specifically, if you have any products in mind that you love, that you would like to share, or if it's something that you've been looking, a feature that you've been looking for but you haven't seen yet.
Yeah. So like the one thing that I really like about NFT Nerds is this a momentum chart that they do. And I'm curious if that you
Hmm.
guys are able to do something like that, which basically kind of gives you like within the minute how many people are listing, and then how many people are also listing lower, undercutters, and then it compares it to the number of people that are number of sales that are happening. So it kind of gives you a good indicator of whether or not the floor price is going to go up or to go down. And this is usually done during a momentum play, during either a reveal or during a launch of a project. I'm curious if you guys have any
Hmm.
plans to do something like that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a great question. So I don't like to, overpromise things, and I definitely would say that, first of all, Token isn't a regular and it's not an analytic dashboard, so to speak.
Hmm.
Um, I know for a fact that analytic dashboards like NFT Nerds,
Yeah.
um, they offer tons of information. I definitely I love the fact that they do. I know for a fact that people use icy tools or even mobi.gg because of that, because of the information that they provide. And the one thing that Token instead is that, first of all, we do have certain features that give you that parameter. So I can kind of show you exactly what certain parameters you can set. Just give me one second. Let me grab like a snippet of what that picture would look, or what that page would look like for people. Let me just drop it into the voice call. I'm sorry, the voice chat. So, so this is a typical monitoring page that everyone would be, able to use. What this does is you can choose the collections that you like. Whichever collection that you like. No, you don't have any limits. You could just choose, and then it will basically allow you to monitor. But the reason this page is particularly important is because of the trigger action that I was actually sent above, which I'll paste again. So all of these collections that you monitor, you can choose easily to set triggers and set actions, and send these to any channel. So let's say even in Gojira, let's say if you guys just want to be notified, let's say if Doodles has dropped 80% from their floor within the next 10 in just 10 minutes. These type of parameters you can set with the filters that you want for each of these collections, and they'll be sent to your webhooks. So, like I said in the very beginning, prior to this conversation, I'm not trying to FUD here. It was just an example. It's just you could basically have that sent to any of your channels as you wish to. So you can create one channel, grab that webhook, paste that in, and that particular information will be sent to that webhook, and you will be notified of it. You don't even have to, be on a website every time to log in and stay there just to look in something. You could just set this up. You know, I know many of you guys have Discord on your phone. You know, whenever this thing is just up and running, in the background, all it needs to do is just, send it to your own private channels or your own private server. And you're just like, oh, wow, like Doodles went down 80%. That's GG. But, that's not going to happen, right? It's just an
Yeah.
example. Um, it's just, these trigger actions to us is what we are more focused on. But I definitely could tell you in the future, while once we have established, the foundational features that everyone enjoys on the toolbox itself, we will divert our attention to not only building a dashboard, it's very, very similar, but in more intuitive features on a website, as well as potentially a mobile app that can remotely control this toolbox. Um, but I will not talk more about that until we actually have that done.
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, it looks really cool, and what I'm kind of getting from it is that you guys have, a bunch of different. It's like you have you have really good aspects of different platforms that are already out there. As it looks to me, you have things that you can only do on icy tools. You have things that you can get from, NFT nerds and definitely different places, especially like Gem and all that good stuff. And I think that's really an awesome thing. I really think that the monitoring the different collections is a big deal because you might have this instance where you like you were saying before is doodles might dip and you were like, hey, if it doodles dip to 15, I'd love to like buy it or know that it buys it. And sometimes that dip only happens and lasts for maybe a couple minutes, 10, 15
Mhm.
minutes and you know, you're working on work and you're like sitting at home working from home, and then all of a sudden you can get an alert or, something that's letting you know that, hey, one of the collections that you're monitoring has dipped below that threshold that you want to buy. And so like I think that's really important because I can tell you how many times I've, come on to OpenSea or NFT Nerds and been like, what the heck? That thing sold for that much? Man, I would have bought it.
Exactly.
So I definitely completely understand that, but yeah, I'd love to just like hear more in-depth talk about different aspects that you think are like the most bullish things that like, really set you apart. I know that you kind of harped on the monitoring different collections and whatnot, and I think that's like super important, but I'd love to hear some more straight from your mouth about what's like, what really sets you guys apart because it does look like a really good platform. And I'm, looking over here at the comparison table, and I mean the comparison table is just like absolutely amazing. I mean, you can do a bunch of the things that you like everybody wants. They want to be able to, bulk sweep, which you can use on Gem, but it would be nice to be in one place. You can also do bulk bidding on here, and you can do bulk listing, which is also things that, I don't think bulk bidding is anything you can do on Gem yet or Genie, but I know that the bulk listing and the bulk sweeping you can. But then you also have this other implementation of like the bulk canceling, which is also really cool. And it seems like you just have, a bunch of different aspects that are really good. And I mean, like it just shows that when you look at the comparison to what Alpha Sharks provide, it's just a no-brainer. Token app, obviously like provides way, way, way more. But the real question is how are you guys going to gate this? Are you gating it behind a subscription, or are you going to gate it behind an NFT project, and how much, or an NFT itself, and how much is that going to cost and whatnot?
Yeah, these are extremely awesome questions. I do believe I'll get them. I'll get through it one by one. I do believe that the one thing that I'll kickstart this conversation is by saying that I had many conversations with a lot of project owners the past few days and even the past few weeks. The one thing that they've mentioned to me specifically is, yeah, we've heard this conversation before. We've heard this conversation where you guys are saying that you guys are that go-to toolbox, and I would definitely in my take, I would definitely say, because not only are we actually that go-to toolbox, it is also because we're not only attempting to pioneer the space with certain features that are not actually available in the space yet, but we're also making sure that token is something that is readily accessible, and it's also in many cases, I'm very sure you guys would have opinions on this, where if there's a game or if there's a toolbox or utility, I better be able to beta test it before it launches, because who knows if that's going to be available. And so for us, because of myself and the team in general, which we've taken care of many customers in the past in our previous automation software. So we know easily how to make sure and how to take care of our customers, how to receive feedback, and whether it's negative or positive, it gives us a way to move us and bring us forward. That is something that we heavily focus on. And, I want to make sure that also in this call that everyone knows that token will not launch until I'm satisfied with whatever we are, providing. And so obviously what Jim is asking in the voice chat too, you know, I will make sure that whatever is on the the white paper, will be available upon mint. But before mint, and people will have their time, their efforts, and their feedback to give us, and we'll try to fix them and improve them. Whitelist, my bad. Yeah, I will try to figure out ways to make sure that that happens with internal testing and beta testing before we launch. Um, so, you know, that I hope that's able to set us apart from many of these upcoming tools that are coming on the market. Because, I know for a fact that, certain tools in the market that are about to launch, they haven't had a beta testing at all. And they're just basically promising that, the tools are going to be available. But I can definitely tell you, we have that experience. We know exactly, what to provide, what to receive, and what to work on to improve the experience, and then kind of like allow people who use our tool to feel like this is the go-to tool that they want. That's what we care about the most. So to answer your question, by the way, and to jump back to the question that you were asking about all the other features, I'm more than happy to dive into detail for that. So stepping aside away from the monitoring collections, which a lot of people, and we've been trying to do a comparison between NFTers and whatnot. Um, I can definitely put this out there that first of all, for sweeping in general, um, at the first stage, we try to make sure that our sweeping contract is on par, which is around the same amount of gas saved as gem. But at the same time, I believe because that is already done, our team is already looking into ways to even improve the gas optimization for our own holders when it's launched, when token launches. Um, and I can confidently tell you that right now, our team, because of the weeks that they've been putting in just to look for ways to optimize, they've looked into, I believe it's called the yellow paper for Ethereum. They were taking days just to read that, which if anyone's interested, you can go ahead to read that if you want. But it's like a 40, 50 pager of just random calculations. But that intrigued them a lot. And that for some reason, they were able to find certain ways to even improve and optimize the gas even further for sweeping alone. But that also means, for bidding, the reason why, products or dashboards out there, or sorry, like Genie, is not able to help you do bidding or canceling is because you need to approve every single NFT. And so for Token, on the other hand, you could just choose all of the wallets. You could do multiple wallets, any wallet that you want to. You could choose the NFTs within all of these wallets and then cancel all of them without ever pressing a button. Same thing goes for bidding. You could choose the favorite collections or the favorite NFTs, set the price that you want, or set custom price for each of the NFTs that you want. As long as you have that amount in your wallet, you can bid them all without having to approve every single transaction. Um,
That's awesome. Can I ask a
so
quick question about the bulk bidding? Because I love bulk bidding, but I kind of get scared sometimes with some of these the NFT aggregators, like Gem, because
mhm,
OpenSea can flag something as being suspicious, like if like an account got hacked or scammed or something like that, and then I don't want to bid on
mhm.
that one. Is there a way to like not allow that to happen? Because I really don't want to end up being like, oh yes, I got something for really cheap, and the only reason why I got it for cheap is because the person was just trying to get rid of it because they scam someone or yada
It's
yada
scam.
yada.
Hmm. Yeah, that's fully understandable. So the one thing that I would definitely let you know is um, you're not going to, obviously, we will give you the option to bid on an entire collection. Why? Because Look Square offers that. And because we're on this topic, we don't just offer ways to do things on OpenSea. You could do it on Look Square X2Y2. And because we support Solana, you could do it on Magic Eden and potentially in the future as well for Solinar, but I don't think a lot of people use that as much anymore. So back to your question, you're easily able to choose the NFTs, as you wish. We would make sure that the NFT that is flagged won't be able to be selected, or it would be blurred out. It would warn you as well. We have ways to set precaution to hide NFTs based on if it is available or not available or if it's flagged. So that is definitely something that you don't have to worry about.
Yeah, so yeah, that's awesome. And you touched on something that I kind of feel like you brushed over that I find to be way more it's much more of a big deal nowadays because we're all of a sudden getting spun this narrative of Solana summer. And what you can do on this is you guys deal with Sol and ETH, correct?
Correct. Everything you see here is for both ETH and Sol. None
And
of it is cut down to one or the other.
and I think that's really cool because the whole fact of the matter is that we get comfortable with certain platforms and certain apps and things that we like to use, and when we're spending thousands of dollars, we really want to feel comfortable while we're doing so. And so I think that one of the things is that might be good is that you get comfortable with this app, and the reason why people don't want to do Soul and things like that is because we don't not comfortable with that other platform of buying from them. And so I think that this kind of could be a good bridge to be able to make people like feel comfortable by you can buy your ETH stuff on here, and then if you want to kind of branch over, you can start doing your research on all the Soul stuff through the same platform. So I think that like you touched on it slightly, but I think all of a sudden, just in the last last like couple weeks, that soul part about it that you guys are touching on is actually become way more of an important addition to your platform here. So I think that's really cool. So I think that's going to help a lot. When are you guys actually releasing? I'm curious about that.
So I would definitely expect, at least let's say for beta launch, to be around next week or two. And for launch day, if everything goes well, it should be sometime mid or late of June. And if it's not something that I'm satisfied with, if I know for a fact that the product still needs ways to improve, or we're receiving feedback that there's certain things that we need to adjust, we're not going to back down and just say we're just going to mint. We're going to make sure that we fix that before we do anything else.
Awesome. No, good, all good stuff. Like I was saying. But yeah, I don't like, I don't, I kind of like, I want to ask a bunch of questions, but also kind of just like enjoying you talking about the different aspects. Can you maybe touch a little bit on your private node and, any kind of tests that you guys have done on that? Because I think that's becoming an extremely, like, more and more apparent that people need a private node because you're going through and
Mm-hmm.
you're sitting on empty nerds or on alpha sharks and all that good stuff, and you're clicking buy, and you're competing with other people. But the real thing is that like you could make so much more money if you were first to get through your transaction. And I would love to know what kind of tests you guys have done in comparison to maybe the Just Cubes node or the one that the Ascendants have, or all those ones that have already been coming out.
Yeah, so that's a very, very good question. The one thing that I'll definitely mention to you right now is we are very, very aware of nodes, and we know for a fact that we want to provide these nodes to our customers, or basically our own holders, without ever having to make them purchase additionally. And server costs to ourselves, we try to maintain it as much as possible. But considering we were from a field where we have to care a lot about you know what we call proxies, which is just certain IP addresses that you have to use to mask as much as you can on every single purchase that you're trying to buy. Those type of stuff we're very accustomed to. So we try to make sure that the speed is on par. It's as when it means private, it means private, because I can definitely tell you in the community, when people call it private, it's like it's I don't think it's very private.
Yeah.
But I mean that's not to kind of throw shade on anybody. I just feel like in any point, the more people that use it is not really private. So for us, we know ways to try to diversify and allow people to, whenever they're using a particular node, that it is not congested, it is not being heavily used by certain people. There's ways to limit people from accessing a certain node, or basically a certain RPC, whenever needed. And we actually give people the flexibility. Actually, you know what? I do have a page that will allow you to kind of understand what you could do. But basically, you would have a drop down menu of as many different nodes that we're providing. And I could tell you, because of what we hope to be as flexible as possible, you're able to easily, choose a list of the nodes that we provide for you. You could use your own if you're actually within a community that is providing nodes. You're more than welcome to use your own as well and add that to that list of nodes that you want to use. Or at the same time, I think in terms of speed tests and what we can try to make sure that everyone is susceptible to. First of all, the comparison chart for all of the nodes speeds will be out. Basically, we have like a bunch of different products out there that we will be using as a comparison. But at the same time, we care more about the success with these nodes, especially with when you're talking strictly about minting. Minting is getting harder and harder. And if we're talking about Solana, because it's getting so hard, nobody really wants to do a public mint anymore. Everyone's just going and shifting their focus onto whitelists. And even whitelists are getting harder to, actually redeem for some reason. And I think the one thing that we will try to make sure is not only will you have the most, uh, fast speeds that you can kind of utilize for your ETH RPCs or nodes. And at the same time, you're as flexible as possible to switch them around without ever having to, pay an additional cost. That is something that we try to do. And I can definitely tell you right now, I can't give you a full answer on that because I don't like to BS people. If I don't have that number right now, I can't provide that. But by all means, it is something that we are confident in what we can potentially produce, and we will definitely make sure that the nodes that we are working on will be something that is extremely competitive to those in the market.
Yeah. I think that's good that you don't just come out and say things like that. I feel like a lot of people, when they get put under pressure, they kind of just like, hey, let me just say something just to kind of appease people, and that kind of, instead of just like telling them the truth, like, hey, we don't have the numbers, it's a lot easier to do that instead of being like, oh, hey, you promised this and you said this and then you're not doing it. So it's like, I definitely appreciate that. I know it's a small little thing and it's very cool, but you're adding like I was saying, is you're adding a lot of stuff. Like, you have this like node for, Sol and for ETH that's become, much more, in demand as given the last like couple weeks and all that good stuff. And, we might have some people where, like predominantly ETH traders are going to be ETH and Sol traders now. And, some of these,
Mhm.
things that you guys have on. I must say that one of the things that I look at is it doesn't seem like it's the biggest thing because everyone's kind of like, what do they provide and this, that, and the other. Some of the stuff is like the UI and like the way that the user experience is. And the biggest problem with some of the like I don't like name names, but some of the ones that I don't want to use that are coming out new is just like the fact that the UI is cluttered and it really is like not easy to navigate. It's not intuitive, and I kind of get confused. And like I was trying to say is like if I'm not comfortable with the platform I'm using and I'm spending thousands and thousands of dollars, then like I'm just not going to use that platform. So one thing that I have noticed
Mhm.
is the fact that your UI is very clean and it seems like it's very easy. Obviously I haven't had a chance to, click through it and like demo test it, which like I would love to be able to have that opportunity, but like it does look like it's really easy, it's intuitive, it's like makes you feel comfortable, it's not really cluttered because I've seen some that just have tons of information all just kind of like
Mhm.
it's like analytics like vomit when they think that they need to provide a bunch of things whereas they need to provide the right
Mhm.
things instead of everything,
Right.
because not everyone trades the
Right.
exact same way. And so I do think that's really cool. And like I was saying, is I keep on going back to this comparison chart, the table here, and looking at all the comparison. It's just, crazy how, glaring of a difference there is between the token app and Flipper tool and then with Alpha Sharks. It's just like, I mean, you're just looking at it, there really is no comparison. So I think that you guys have done something really good. One question I would like to ask is, you're promising a lot, in a way, like, when you're looking at the
Mhm.
comparison table, and how it's all about the execution. So can you just like kind of like talk about the team and why this team is the proper team to be able to execute an app so in depth as this one?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question. I think the one thing that definitely shocks people like you as well is obviously the comparison chart. But the one thing that I can confidently tell you is when we were discussing with our team and we're looking at certain things that let's say Flipper has provided, even our guys they were talking to me in a call and they were just like, "Yo, I like Swifty, I could have done this in like a single week." With the UI that they're mean, okay, that's kind of negative, but I'm not going to name any names from now on. But it's just the fact that we, um, for our own track record, I mean, like what I mentioned previously, and I can definitely dive into it more now, is the fact that first of all, myself and six other developers, we have a successful automation software called Koi, and you guys can definitely see that on my profile as well. Um, it has made people, a couple $1 million already, collectively speaking, every month. They're buying PS5s, they're buying sneakers, you name it. Any site that makes people additional income, we make sure that people are able to make money from there. So the fact of the matter is that we care a lot about speed and the competitive nature of these bots that we are very very susceptible to. It is something that we care about a lot, and that's the reason why, first of all, if we're strictly talking speed, we are, I can confidently tell you that we are that go-to team that can definitely deliver that portion. But in terms of what you have just mentioned, and I definitely have touched upon this earlier, is yeah, many people, including yourself just now, will ask, why is it your team out of any other team? With all of these features that are being offered, um, why does it, it definitely looks surreal. It definitely looks like something that, is like, why isn't it, heavily in the market right now? And I can definitely tell you the two things is that, first of all, our team has been working on this for almost 4 months, from the that I was, playing with NFTs. Every single time that a certain thing that pops up with whether it's in a chat, I remember I was in a few communities that gave me the idea that there's so many ways to improve the experience as an NFT trader. And so for us, by time we're basically focusing on ways to provide that experience and kind of grow that experience for people too. And for me at least, and you can, it's just something that I'm very, very, um, you know, in some ways I care a lot about is just the fact that not only the experience that you use the product is very, very intuitive, but at the same time it is something that is extremely powerful. So I can definitely show you. I have both demos, which I can definitely show after we finish the AMA, and I can kind of show you exactly how much for both of the products that are currently already in production. And, it's not something that it's all just pictures. We have working products. We have people who are currently testing with us. And for the other product that I just mentioned, it is still up and running. It has a few thousand customers there still, using that tool. And so for us, we know exactly the differences between, running a bot like Koi as compared to running a toolbox like Token. And I definitely could tell you that with how the NFT space is right now and how people would potentially be diving their heads into, the one thing that you guys would probably recognize is you know if OpenSea at any point, or let's say LooksRare at any point needs to change something, they need to change their entire structure. They need to change their entire infrastructure for things to be changed. Meanwhile, for websites like what Walmart or Foot Locker, for example, like all of these sneaker and retail sites, they change every single second because they have this thing called bot protection or anti-bot. That sneaker, our team has to basically actively be there every day to solve for our own holders, our own members. So we're very used to being on deck every single day, taking care of people, making sure that they're successful with what they do, giving them that edge whenever possible. So it's not something that we're gonna just build and say, yeah, we're done. Because I could definitely tell you, with the experience that we have, with the 4 years of experience that we put in, this is a commitment to us. It's something that we're extremely proud about. And we will be very proud to continue to build it forward for, anyone in this call and just in general, anyone who is going to be holding our pass. Um, so, as it, to kind of wrap this conversation up, I definitely would say that, it definitely looks very, very, um, you know, surreal at the moment. But I would definitely tell you right now that by time, people are going to be building very, very similar things. And it's just a matter of time that somebody does. And we are hoping to be that person to pioneer first. Give people some room to kind of recognize what is a product that they can kind of, be as a comparison or be at that level, because we know the capability of our team with a diverse background in anti-bots, finding exploits, bypasses, loopholes, anything you name it, really, to building beautiful UIs. The entire team is here to make sure that we build the best product possible. Did I lose? Did I lose Zero Cool anywhere?
No, no, I muted my mic while you were talking, so I was hopping back on. But yeah, no, I appreciate that in-depth answer to my question because it's definitely something, I try to ask questions that, try to put myself inside the everyday NFT collector. And quite frankly, I am one of those NFT collectors, just that are just one of those everyday people. And so I kind of do know what people want to know about and, ask those kind of questions. And You've definitely done a pretty good job of it. And I just like, the only thing that we have to see is just the execution, because you aren't out yet. And I like, think that this is a really bold and awesome thing, and I think you guys will do really well, if the execution is proper. And one thing I was going to ask is like, what kind of things are you kind of looking at for the future, for different parts of your roadmap of what you guys are trying to achieve? Like if you guys are trying to do something more than just, add, more features to the app, or if you guys are trying to expand to do bigger and better things or anything like that. Do you guys have any plans for anything?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, to touch upon before I jump into that, I do want to say that, I appreciate you asking all of these questions, by the way. The one thing that I would definitely say is I definitely agree with you that, it's not, you can have all of the ideas out there, but, with what we're proposing here, but I agree, the execution is what matters. And, by time, we would love to make sure that it is something that exceeds your expectations. And, definitely, especially for you, by the way, I would love to have you to test things out before we launch as well. Um, so, to answer your question about roadmap, we definitely have a very, very broad scope of what we hope to achieve. The toolbox to us is a foundational start for us to kind of figure out what is next. But I can definitely tell you for a fact that the toolbox, because of what it offers and because of how the market rapidly changes, and everyone probably knows this too, that probably your 10 minutes is a day already.
Yep.
It's just very rapid. We try to make sure that the toolbox is adapting to any changes that is needed. If there's a certain new platform that is providing a certain feature that really gives the benefits to those who are using the toolbox, we will make sure that it is provided to people um, and adjust certain things to their needs. Likewise, I think the one thing that I'll definitely mention is moving forward, on our roadmap, which everyone can kind of see on our white paper later, is the fact that first of all, we would definitely focus more on our partners. We have quite a few partners that will also have partial access to the tools. We want to make sure that first of all, the tool itself is accessible to people, but at the same time, they're able to kind of test things out and see whether or not this is the tool for them. Because the more feedback that we get, the better we are to improve, the better we are to, um, you know, see what we need to make sure that this toolbox is still that go-to toolbox in the space. Now, beyond that, beyond the toolbox itself, myself and I know some guys are probably in the AMA right now, that they're not here to talk. I definitely would have to say that, Token itself, we hope to be able to kind of extend ourselves to become a platform instead of just, a toolbox itself. So, like I said in the call earlier, yeah, we could potentially extend more into building exactly what, NFT nerds could provide as a simple start. Because, the one thing that I'll definitely bring up is while everyone is, looking down upon OpenSea's API, because yeah, it's rate limiting people so many times that it's just infuriating. We have the fact that they have introduced, their new WebSocket API really, really levels the playing field of all platforms and basically all of these analytic dashboards. Everyone can receive real time information now. It's what the question now is, what can you possibly do with it? So by time, I'm very certain that if we're looking at certain dashboards nowadays, they're slowly adding these bidding features. They're slowly adding these sniping features, or just basically more features that, make them an all-rounded tool set for their own holders. So it's just a matter of time that, people are catching up and building the right things. So, Token itself, definitely, we're focused on building that to make ourselves that go-to toolbox, and we will make sure that that happens. With what you were just mentioning, we try to execute it properly so that everyone has the up-to-date information, has the up-to-date features that really, really allow them to excel in the NFT space. And moving forward, we could be making basically Token as a platform for creators and developers, and even just regular NFT traders that really to be able to access this platform and enjoy, communicate, and reach out to people within this in this the platform that we're building. Whether it's physical events, virtual events, things like that. We want to be able to create, and at the same time, with how the NFT space is moving so rapidly, and everyone's starting to recognize, you know, potential in digital identity, with I think it's blockchain domain names, all of these things that people are starting to recognize. We want to make sure that we also pioneer that, within these platforms that we build. Um, but yeah, I hope that really answers your question.
Yeah, it definitely does, and I look forward to hopefully, like I said, I think you mentioned that you would the beta testing, and I'd look forward to kind of getting in there and getting my hands dirty and kind of checking it out. How long did you say the beta period was going to be?
So, like I said earlier, it would be like 1 to 2 weeks from now when we
Okay.
start when we kickstart all of our beta testing, and then most likely we'll give people at least a week or two as well, just to kind of run through it, and, stress test it, do whatever you want with it, and then give us the feedback from there.
Awesome. Yeah. Because I think it's like definitely one of those things you don't want to rush it out. If people are still providing good feedback while beta testing, some of the best people, I mean, the best people to know what you need and, to fix and or what's good or, just what you don't need to change and all that good stuff is, just like the people that are here in the AMA right now. And I think that one of the reasons why I'm so bullish on, NFT nerds is just their ability to listen to the community and take what the community is saying and then implement that into making their platform better. And I just like hope and would just advise to you is just to be very on top of like listening to the community because I can't tell you how many times when I'm doing these tutorials on NFT nerds where I'm like literally telling people like how much I love this platform, not just because of how good it is, but more so of the fact that they're ever evolving and they're always adding new things and even things that people are not even asking the community for. They're even implementing that. So that's why I get really bullish. And
Mm,
one thing that I have to say is that like, community like, is king and they really know what's best because who's using your product? The community,
mm,
obviously. So that's one of the things that like I have to say to you. And obviously we're still in this phase where you're kind of rolling out the app and the beta test, and you haven't even launched the NFT yet and all that good stuff. And I just have to say that
mm,
just make sure that you're listening to your Discord community and you're taking what they say because a lot of times the developers think that they like know best and they know everything, and oftentimes that
mhm,
is true, but the biggest problem is that you might look at something a million times and you think in your head it's amazing, it's great, because this happens to me all the time. And then
mhm,
you completely just miss like, oh wait, this little like thing could be added or fixed or changed or whatever, and it makes the platform like, exponentially better. So I
mhm,
definitely implore you guys to make sure that you guys, stay one with the community and keep your ears open, and just be willing to, admit that maybe, yeah, we did something like, incorrectly or something needs to be fixed, and just like kind of fix it. Because I don't go bearish on a project because they have problems. I become bearish on a project if they are told they have problems and they don't fix it. But I'm
mhm,
get really bullish on a project when they are told, "Hey, you need to improve some things," and then you go and improve it. And then I
mhm,
love that because no one's perfect. No one's gonna put out a
mhm,
final product immediately and it's gonna be perfect and it's gonna be the best thing ever. The main thing is to
mhm.
learn to work with your project, work with your community, and to ever be evolving. And that's what I think is the biggest you know abilities for a project to be successful is their just the ease of which that they can adapt. And I think adaptation is the biggest thing because the space is so volatile and crazy and so quick and fast moving and all that good stuff, and you just need to be able to adapt, and that's like the main thing.
Absolutely, I appreciate that a ton. You letting me know that as well, and obviously, it is something that we will definitely do in the long run, and we have been doing, as well. It's just, I definitely tell you right now that in the past we have made this mistake, like what you just mentioned, with our other tool, sorry, with our other software. That, yeah, like we have definitely taken several steps on our own, while the community is looking for different things on our tool. And so for us, it's a big learning experience, and definitely for us, it's a humble experience for us to build for people, and like you said, adapt to the certain changes that is needed, which we would definitely be able to do easily, and we will definitely execute it as much as we can, just so that this tool, like I mentioned, is that go to toolbox that people can use.
Awesome. Yeah, and so I mean, I don't really see too many questions in chat, and I kind of ask questions as I go that are kind of popping in my head as you're talking. And if there's anything else you kind of want to use this platform, we're getting a little bit close to 1 hour. I usually try to. I don't want to limit anything if you want to keep on talking because this is your chance to be out here and try to convince the Jira fam to either mint or to potentially buy on the secondary or to support you guys in general. So I want to let you know that you can, if there's anything else you want to kind of touch on. If not, then we can kind of start wrapping it up. I've been asking questions from the community as they've been coming up as well. So if anyone wants to be brought up, that's totally
Yeah,
fine. But if not, then we can kind of like wrap it up. And like I said, I have this being recorded. So if anyone came late or if you want to take this Swifty to your community and pass this on and so that it can kind of educate people and hopefully maybe there were some questions that were asked in this that weren't asked in other AMAs and whatnot. Someone did ask, is there any idea of the mint price? Just since people came late, you can just kind of like give them a brief little like when mint and when the beta test and go over that really quickly one last time to kind of wrap things up, if you don't mind.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, so to answer your question about min price and also supply, so the min price should be around 0.2, if anything. Obviously, we know how the market is right now. We were looking at certain tools and how they offer their subscription. We believe that in the long term, with how we scale our product, that 0.2 is something reasonable and it's something that people can kind of work around with. Um, and it's just something that we would definitely inform our team and whatnot if there's certain changes that need to be happening. But that is the price that we're working with. I mean, in terms of the supply, you can kind of expect should to be around 5 to 6K. Um, and like I said, it's just something that we're confident in being able to build. And with what Zero Cool was able to kind of touch upon, I do believe a lot of these questions were really helpful, not only for the community within this call, but just the community in general. Um, I think in terms of increasing the supply and decreasing the min price, the one thing that we have to definitely consider, and I hope that you guys can kind of recognize that too, is first of all, there are existing API costs. There's also developmental cost that goes within it. Because we're not just regular NFT. The product has to be maintained, and also there's certain things that have to be fetched from the server instead of everything being done locally. So with that, obviously the long term, we have to be able to take care of that. And we try to make sure that whatever our min price is, it is completely reasonable to our community as well as reasonable to our team for the long run. But I think to answer Zirkel's question about basically to kind of wrap up the conversation in this call is just I definitely would love to have anyone who's in this call and want to be able to ask questions. You're more than welcome to hop into Token's Discord. I will be there in the VC below so that anyone can kind of chip in, ask quick questions, and I can answer them right away. Um, I just want to make sure that first of all, everyone has a chance to ask the questions to find the ways that we can improve specifically for them. But obviously, um, because this is more of an AMA, I hope that this AMA was very informative to everybody. The one thing that I definitely want to kind of mention is the fact that Token right now, it is still at a very early stage. Myself, Arnav, who's actually in this call, and also all of the other guys on our team. We're very confident in what we're able to produce we're confident in our community and growing our community, and building for our community. So with our not only our track record, not only what we've done in the past, we want to make sure that whatever we're building is something that people are going to be happy with, and definitely um, like what Cool was saying earlier, we would definitely be at the forefront and focus on certain things that can really not only deliver to our holders, but also to in some ways surprise them in a good way, with the certain features that we can introduce. Um, but I appreciate you giving us this platform, this time to talk in this AMA. And like I said, if there's any other question that people might have, I'm more than happy to go into the Token Discord just to talk in a VC, and anyone can kind of ask questions from there.
Awesome. And we can drop that Discord link in the VC chat. So if anyone wants to hop in there and maybe, not courageous enough to hop up here to ask while we're going through this and recording it and whatnot, if you want to hop in there, like Swifty was saying, I'm more than happy to come in there and answer any questions that you guys might have. And I just wanted to say thank you from myself and from the entire Jira fam for taking time out of your busy schedule to come out and educate us about a new tool that's coming out that's going to be could be really really useful, and hopefully will make waves in the in the analytics department, which it looks like you guys have some really cool stuff, and I'm looking forward to being able to beta test and give you guys feedback, because this is like something, like I said, is like I'm very passionate about all the tools and I use them very often, and I extend like use them extenuously, and like just like it's like one of my biggest things. I teach the Jira fam how to use these and how to look at these and how to look for bullish indicators and how to help make yourself a better NFT trader by using products like this. So, like I said, I appreciate you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of the Jira fam's heart. We appreciate you, and yeah, we wish you good luck on everything that's for the future of Token. And yeah, once again, thank you. Appreciate it, Swifty. Hope you have a good rest of your day, brother.
You as well. We'll definitely keep in touch, and I'll let you know when the beta test happens, and we'll bring you on board.
Amazing. Love it so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Take care, everyone. Thank you for the Jira fam that came out and supported this. I really appreciate it. We had 40, 50 people here, which is just a really, really good number considering, how global Jira is, and, just how the market is. And a lot of people just kind of don't really care too much about learning about new NFTs and even analytics and all that kind of stuff. So this is I feel like it's a really good showing, and people came out here and spread some good vibes and they asked some questions. So thank you to everyone that was involved, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, evening, or morning. Much love.
All right. Have a good one.